Thank you so much for joining us today to learn more about our AI guided curriculum mapping framework. But before I get started, just making sure some housekeeping items, making sure that we know where the chat is. Please let us know where are you visiting us from and what's the weather like. I think some people right now are wearing sweaters, some have snow. We have a little bit in our team, Andrea, which is funny. But let's see, please let us know. Please type in the chat. You have the chat icon. Let us know what school or what part of the world are you visiting us on today, and what's the weather like. California, 74 degrees and sunny. Wow, yeah, chilly in New Jersey. Minnesota, 48 degrees. Wow. I'm in San Antonio, Texas, and it starts cold, but I think it's already like in the 80s. I bet. Dallas, Texas, cool, but warming up. Yep, Jennifer, same. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. Irvine, Texas. Wow, yeah. In Texas, the weather is getting better, which is nice. I was looking forward to it. Awesome. Well, I can see that everybody knows where the chat is, which is great, because I'll tell you, I like making these webinars interactive. So I'll be asking you questions. I want to hear from you. So now I'm glad that you know where the chat is so that we can all have a really good session. Let's see. Perfect. With that, let me introduce someone who's living the work of curriculum mapping every single day and more than anything, because she's helping us. Dr. Andrea Collins is the Director of Assessment and Evaluation at Stanford University School of Nursing, which means that she's responsible for making curriculum, competencies, and accreditation standards all aligned, and faculty as well, aligned with everything else. She's been in nursing education for over 30 years as a professor, a certified nurse educator, and a family nurse practitioner. She's not just teaching theory, she's been in clinical trenches and global health missions and built assessment systems that actually work. And here's why she's here today. She's been through multiple CCNE cycles, led faculty through the AACN Essentials transition, and knows exactly where the programs get stuck and how to help them get out of that. So Dr. Collins, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure having you here.
Happy to be here.
So before we get started, and I know you found the chat, so everyone knows where it is, tell us what's the biggest single challenge that you're facing right now as you're trying to transition to the essentials? Or if you already transitioned to the essentials, tell us what's slowing you down right now. Is it time constraints, the complexity of the curriculum mapping process, faculty resistance because they're already doing a lot with too little, the lack of a systematic process, or something else? Tell us, just type a word like time, mapping complexity, faculty burnout, no clear process, something else. It's time. I see some time consuming. Oh, we know. And what would you tell us about time as people are typing? Time, second one.
Sometimes the time is just getting everyone on board. It takes a little while to get consensus of where to start. And so you're already out of time by the time everyone agrees to the process. And that was a challenge. And also just how to get started. Sometimes that's hard to figure out where you start.
Absolutely. Like we can see complex to figure out how to organize. And we have been talking about it, Andrea, that sometimes we might spend too much time talking about how to approach the challenge that we have, but we don't spend much time on the execution, right? And that's one of the biggest challenges. The other comment is ensuring the faculty are adhering to the competencies and assignments are crafted as such.
I feel your pain on that one. And now we've got it all in place. Is it really happening the way we put it in place?
Absolutely. It's like beautiful plan, but it's actually happening. Yeah. And we wanted to start there because we wanted to acknowledge the reality of curriculum mapping. I mean, sometimes we might be the person in the middle of the room that we're falling asleep and just going like, oh, well, how much time do we have in this meeting? Right? Like you might have, like, let me paint the picture, right? You might have one faculty mapping in Word documents, another one in Excel. It all makes sense until you try to put it all together. And suddenly Excel won't let you enter the data that you need it in. The paper structure doesn't translate to an analysis, and your team has to spend countless meetings just debating how to approach curriculum mapping without actually mapping anything, just the approach, as we were talking about, Andrea, timing. Does this sound familiar? Please let us know. Yes, just type in the chat like, yes, it feels like that. Like we spent all this time. Patricia says yes. So what would you say about this, Andrea? Like, what's the reality check? What does curriculum mapping look like in the beginning?
Just like this, you have somebody, I think the person who's excited about it and they're ready to get started, one that just wants to hide their head in the sand, one that wants to check out completely. Yes. The reality is that you have to figure out how to get everyone on the same page and move forward without spinning your wheels. And that's what I like about this systematic process, because it gives you a place to start, that everyone can start at the same level. Even if I saw somebody say they had a lot of turnover of faculty and leadership, when you don't have people who've been through accreditation or mapping before, you have to develop them at the same time that you're actually doing the mapping. And that can be challenging. And that's why I feel like I was excited about this process, because I feel like this can help.
Absolutely. And what we were discussing, Andrea, it's like the cost of delay, right? Accreditation risk, one. The other one is faculty burnout and turnover, which we have even our attendees acknowledging that. Students suffer because any minute we spend on these committees or meetings, it's every minute that we're taking away from the classroom or paying attention to the students. And then you get stuck on the reactive mode more on than the strategic leadership, right? But the good news is, like Andrea was saying, like there is a better way, and it doesn't require hiring more people or working weekends for countless months. There's a better way, and that's what we are here for. And the AI guided curriculum mapping framework that we're proposing and that we're working on, it has 7 steps. So step 1, we need to start with the foundation, your program outcomes. And we're going to go into more details for each of these and show you examples, but I want to go at a high level. The beauty of this framework is that not only leadership, but faculty can see the beginning and the end and every single step that it takes to get there. No more time spending on trying to figure it out. Where should we get started? So the first one, backward design, is where it is at. Yes, absolutely. So you start with your program outcomes. What do you want the students to be proficient on when they graduate from the program? But also by CCNE, we have to show alignment between these degrees, between BSN, MSN, and PhD degrees or doctorate degrees. So we do all of that assessment. Once we have strong program outcomes, then we go into mission congruency. Once again, still the foundation. Once we do that, then we take all of your core student learning outcomes and we map them to the essentials so that we can get a current state of your curriculum without modifying anything yet. Just imagine that someone comes, scans everything in your course syllabus for a degree and tells you these are where the gaps are and which courses should be covering those gaps. Why? Because then you want to present all of these findings to the stakeholders and faculty so that you can get their buy-in, so that you can tell them this is what we found, these are the changes that we're planning, and get them ready for step 5 and 6. Step 5, they need to develop strong core student learning outcomes. Sometimes what we're seeing is that the core student learning outcomes might be 15 of them instead of being concise into between 5 to 8, or might be 3, might not be broad enough, might not be using the right verbs for the degree. And we're going to go through the criteria that we use to assess that. And then from there, once they have strong CLOs mapped to the essentials, domains, spheres of care, and any other professional competencies, then we're ready to map them to the assessments. And then the beauty of that is that as you're going through these steps, the 7th step is the interactive curriculum. So out of these 7 steps, which one are you on right now? Or just type a number, let us know where you are. And Andrea, can you explain a little bit? I would love to hear from you, like when we started working on this, you already transitioned to the essentials, but I heard a few things a few times where you were like, I wish I had this. And what was what was behind that comment?
Well, I do. I wish I had this. And one thing is when we were as a faculty debating how to do our own mapping, looking at the competencies, looking at the sub-competencies, what courses match this, everyone in the room comes with a different perspective. And so if you have 8 faculty, they're going to interpret that competency and sub-competency 8 different ways. And so it takes time to have the discussion and actually map. I loved that now we have an AI model who comes with a single perspective so that the mapping is done from that single perspective. Now, faculty, they need to please hear me. This is not a one and done. You still can have conversations, but it is fantastic to have a mapping that exists from that single perspective to start the conversation rather than to have to do that mapping and then start the conversation, because you've wasted months doing the mapping, then you waste months talking about the mapping, where we can just do it quickly to start with. So that's one of the things that I feel like could have saved us easily 3 or 4 months of work, is just having somewhere to start. And that's what I like about this. And I hate that you were 2 years behind me.
I'm sorry. I'm deeply sorry about that. But we'll go through the first module. I think that's when we started working together of how do we do program outcomes alignment and quality assurance, right? And it requires 3 steps. So we do the AI audit, and then SME validation, where Dr. Collins is helping us in these meetings. And then the call to, like, we provide guidance on what are some of the things they can do to improve the program outcomes and the alignment. So what does that look like? And I'll show you just a demo. So imagine that you come in and you have your BSN, you have your MSN, and then you have your doctorate program outcomes. In here, each of the program outcomes, and I know it's small, it's not meant to be read in detail, just to give you an overview. AI is assessing if it's specific, measurable, accessible, and degree level appropriate. And then it will let you know how it's being tied or aligned to the essentials. So where we started, all schools start at different levels, and Andrea can share more about that. We might find someone that has a BSN with like advanced level of the verbs they're using, or multiple verbs. So some schools have a lot of red flags everywhere, and we tell them, don't worry, we'll figure it out. But what I like is that it provides recommendations and rationale for suggestions. Now, AI is never 100% accurate, but as Andrea said, instead of having like 10 or 8 voices with different perspectives, you have something that is clear to review, and it actually even tells you, here are some suggestions. And for me, what was really rewarding is that when we would show this to our programs, they would go like, oh my God, we had these discussions already. Like, it was spot on some of the themes. Andrea, what are some of the things that you would like to share with the audience about this program alignment?
Well, even if you have program outcomes already in place, this is a great double check. So your thought process is you're looking at it from your school and only in your school. Whereas if you put this into the model, it comes back and it either gives you comfort, oh, it confirms that these really are good and they're aligned, or if they're not great, it gives you suggestions to do that. So whether you finished with this part or whether you're about to start it, you can use this document. I introduced it to our administrative council when we did ours. We were finished. We'd already gone through accreditation and made it. And I thought, well, okay, they must be okay. And just seeing the report, one of them that was a question in our mind was actually flagged. Now it was fine, but it was one of those things like that. It really confirms your thought processes and helps you move forward. So I like it just as to kind of pat yourself on the back or to help you move forward, either one.
Absolutely. And what I like about this is that we also do the progressive complexity analysis, which is required by accreditation. So we
Yes.
have the 10 domains and is showing what what program outcome is being aligned with each domain. It would let you know if there are any gaps, but it also tells you if there's that progressive complexity. So it starts with utilize, then evaluate, integrate to model, integrate. And that's what we want to see, that progression between the degrees.
This is also helpful for her regional accreditation. So our university accreditor, not just CCNE, requires that we show differentiation. And instead of having to dream up our own tables, then I can give this to our regional accreditor and show how we have leveled our programs.
Which is wonderful. And of course I always tell people like still you can make your own copy, but literally you can just copy paste some of this to some of your accreditation reports and it's clean, it's organized, it's all in one document. It even checks redundancy because we did see some programs that they never did the assessment of the three of them at the same time, like the three different degrees. And when they did, it's like, oh my God, we have the same program outcome on both. You can't have exactly the same like copy paste, like you need to show some kind of progression. So it's nice that you have AI flagging anything that is, hey, there's some redundancies. Do you want to double check and make sure that you address those? And of course, verbs, checking are we using just one at a time? Because if not, it gets confusing. Like, are you assessing synthesize and translate or both, or which one are you assessing? So making sure that we make it clear. And then at the end, we always provide summary guidance. What are the key strengths? Because you're going to have key strengths. And what are some of the main revisions priorities and what's next? So this is step one. And I just want to show you what it looks like when we first started. And this is what it looks like when the program does the revisions. And you can see no red flags, everything clean and organized. You have multiple alignments for each of the domains. A nice advanced level differentiation between the programs. It's just beautiful. It looked beautiful when we ran this one. And then saying like, excellent, key strengths, you're doing a great job, you're ready for the next step. So let us know if you have any questions. Okay, so we're working on the program evaluation plan, making sure that the metrics show progression as a student matriculates through a curriculum from level 1 to level 2. Level 1, level 2, meaning entry level to advanced level, maybe?
Yeah. So the question is, are they starting? Because if it's an undergraduate program, they only have to meet level 1 competencies. So is this a program that starts at an associate and goes to a master's, or
We would need a little bit more context.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I would love to point out is that we always do this process in such a way that we start with like professional faculty development, showing you what's expected of the program outcomes or whatever we're addressing. Then we give you heads up of what you're going to see in the AI report. Then we meet with you and review that with you so that we can help you answer any questions. And then you take it to your program and discuss it with your committee, with the stakeholders, make changes. And then once you have those changes, we put it through the system again until you feel comfortable. So the outcome is that you get that report. And the second one is mission congruency. Mission congruency will take your institutional mission and your program mission and assess, I believe it's 6 different dimensions, and provide a score for those dimensions. And it will let you know if there's a strong congruency level, and if it is, great. All you have to do is maybe just delete this column and put it on your CCNE report, ready for accreditation, that is showing the congruency between the institution and the program element. Once again, at the bottom, you would have recommendations of areas of strong alignment and areas that can be improved. And then the other one that we have is the current state of curriculum mapping. So before I jump into that one, I see another comment. AACN only has 2 options, entry level, which includes the undergrad and advanced level. Yes, entry and it has the entry level and advanced level. That's what we actually, we can talk about it right now. So on module 3, what we do is AI, it's gonna map, we collect all your data so that we can have all the core student learning outcomes in a single database. Then we map them to the essentials. So in here, Andrea gave us permission to show some of his courses in here. But when you get the AI output, you get the CLO, the sub-competency. So we're mapping at the sub-competency level, and a rationale for the mapping. And then we have 3 tiers. Is it as like a 1-by-1 alignment, like a really strong alignment? The second one is more of like, it's not, it's a partial alignment. And then the third one is you cannot do, for instance, B without A alignment. So we have all the alignments in here, and then we provide you with a curriculum map for the competency level, which shows 0 gaps, and the curriculum map for the sub-competency level, which we're still working on these gaps in here. But Andrea, would you want to talk a little bit more about the requirements and how it's more on the competency level than the sub-competency? And
Right. I do like that we're mapping down to the sub-competency level, because AACN would like CCNE to go there eventually. But for now, we are focused on, you absolutely have to meet the competencies, the concepts, for undergraduate, the spheres of care, and the domains. And so that is shown here, that there is alignment. We don't have concepts yet mapped here, but to the domains and the competencies are shown here. And I'm not sure exactly what we were talking about earlier about the 2 progression and the 2 levels. There are programs that start at an associate degree and go to a master's. And in that case, we're not doing sub-competencies, thankfully, but you would meet sub-competencies at that as they move from associate, even if you don't award a bachelor's degree, and then move into graduate, where you would do level 2 sub-competencies. So there are programs that would need to show that progression from level 1 to level 2, even in those programs. But for most programs, you're either going to meet level 1 or level 2, and you don't necessarily have to do both. That was too much. That was more than you asked for. So
no, this is great. So something that we encounter is like, as we find the gaps, right? Like where should we address those gaps? And our model would tell you, these are the gaps, and which courses are aligned or should be aligned to these gaps, with a rationale and even modification to the current student learning outcome, or even you can add a new student learning outcome. So you have the option of doing one or the other. Why are we doing this? Because we want to get faculty buy-in. We want to show them this is where we are right now. These are the gaps that we want to make sure that we get rid of. so that we can have a strong curriculum before they even do any work, right? Because sometimes without imagine building a puzzle without having the box with the image of the puzzle. That would be impossible, right? So at least we get you like really at a good level so that faculty are excited about starting the curriculum map.
I like this too, because we really as faculty take ownership of our courses and we want to call it my course, but this gives you a good puzzle, if you will, the whole picture, and you realize how your course is just one piece of the program. And by looking at it, you can see what your piece contributes, but you can also see how your piece could pick up other areas to take care of some of the gaps that might be there. So to me, this is a great way, especially for faculty who are having a hard time understanding mapping or seeing the big picture. This is a good way to present the big picture where they can see how they fit in with the courses that they teach.
Absolutely. I would say like it shifts this faculty thinking from my course to our program. So how are we a program? How are we a puzzle all in one? Now, the 4 module, and we highly recommend this, is that you present the findings to faculty and stakeholders. You validate with faculty the AI insights with their expertise, and you build momentum by giving them a preview of what's coming on module 5. You want to get their buy-in through transparency. You want to show them what CCNE is requiring. And by the way, if you document all of this as committee meetings or faculty meetings, then you can use that documentation for your CCNE requirements. You share ownership of curriculum improvement, and the results is a collaborative readiness for module 5 and 6. And everyone looks happy in this picture. I love how AI can create images now. And what's module 5? Module 5 is making sure that we work with faculty so that we tell them what makes a high quality core student learning outcome, right? Like we want to show them how the student outcome needs clarity. If you have 5 people reading a CLO, they should all have the same interpretation from it. Measurability, can you observe what the student is doing, performing? It's accessible. Can you grade it fairly and consistently? And rigor, is it the right cognitive level for the degree? But all of that gets provided to faculty in a way and easy. So if you think about it, as Andrea and I were talking about this, how it's like you're providing faculty development while at the same time accomplishing the curriculum map. So in here is being able to go in, see your CLOs, and get that assessment, but with a reflective question, because this is not just about saying this is what's wrong with your core student learning outcome, improve it, and this is what AI says that you should do, which this one actually has this is what the CLO should be. It's more about asking them those questions so that they are thinking about it of what would be a good core student learning outcome and being able to submit all of this. We're not changing like the meaning of the core student learning outcome. They're already mapped to the essentials, to the concepts, to everything else. What we're doing is making sure that they're well written. And then from there, all of this then needs to get mapped to your assessments. And once you're done, everything goes, not just done, as you're going through the process, everything will go into an interactive dashboard where faculty can go in and see how their course contributes to the program. You can also have this for accreditation requirements and even contemplate any changes. If you're going to make any changes, what would be the impact of on the curriculum? Someone is asking, do we will take a certification for this session? We don't continuous education, maybe we don't provide any certifications at the moment. Maybe in the future, something to consider. That would be interesting, but not at the moment. But what I want to show you is that this framework provides a clear path, real progress, measurable results. Instead of spending months on guesswork, you have a clear roadmap from day one. Instead of data scattered everywhere, you have AI power insights. Instead of like no idea what's done or what has been completed, to real-time progress tracking. And instead of documentation nightmare, meaning like everything is everywhere, I don't know, like all the course syllabi, all the Excel spreadsheets or everything else, accreditation aligned at every step and everything is in one place. That's where we are helping with curriculum mapping. And we're working diligently with a cohort of nursing programs that are going through this transition. If you're interested, just let us know. We're making more room for next year. But now I would love to open it for Q&A. But before I do, Andrea, do you have any other comments that you would like to share with the audience?
Now, I think the thing I would emphasize again is this reduces faculty stress and workload, because I'm the director of assessment, but I also have a faculty load, teaching load. So believe me when I say I fully understand what is happening in trying to get this mapping done. So you still have control. This is not somebody else takes it and you don't have any say-so in it, but someone does it for you. You provide a reasonable amount of input, and then it gets put into an interactive dashboard so that when you start saying, are the assessments actually being done, you have data to match to that shows how this outcome was met. And so to me, this was a to Z project that took care of so much of what I would have liked to have had when we had our site visit. So she's saying, what would the advantage of working with a cohort of nursing schools in 2026 be, as an example? And the example is you get this with, normally if you hired a consultant, it is lots of money for them to come in. It takes a lot of time for them to go through, review it. They don't do any mapping for you. They just tell you where all the problems are. With this, you get basically a free consultant, and AAA is mapping everything for you, and you get the feedback that you get to share with your faculty, and at the end you get a complete product, which is pretty amazing.
Yes, and the reason we call them cohorts, and I think that might be the confusing part, is because we want to have everyone at the same pace. Like we will take like 5 programs, and then there's an opportunity, for instance, if we want to provide a faculty development session that talks about what are strong, good core student learning outcomes look like. In fact, we can provide that one like once a week for a month or two, and faculty have the option of signing on what session they can join that fits their schedule. So the reason we do cohorts is because we want to get a good cadence of having availability from Dr. Collins and SMEs. We have availability to provide feedback. So we want to do it all so that we have, imagine it's like having a whole month as a theme. This month is all program outcomes. Then we're ready, we're focused on just program outcomes. And then next month is going to be mission congruency. So that's the reason we do cohorts, so that we make sure that we're available and focus on one module at a time. I hope that answered the question. And also we want to bring everyone together. We have talked about that, like bringing together so they can talk to each other and share their findings. Everyone is different. Everyone has different degrees. Everyone is a different level. But we all share the same challenge: transition to the essentials, competency-based education, and the accreditation requirements. So we're here to help you streamline through our AI framework, which is based on backward design. Wonderful. As I mentioned, if you're interested, please let us know. You can reach us out at sales@influx.com, or you can just scan this code and book a session for us to see if and how we can help you. If we're not able to help you, we can definitely provide some of the resources that we have. And we let us know if you have any other questions. Oh, I love the last comment. I really enjoyed this informative and beneficial session about AI and curriculum development. I'm planning to share a post about attending it. Would it be okay to tag or mention the hosting organization? Of course, please feel free to share. We really appreciate that. Feel free to share and post. Andrew and I were like, yeah, we would be excited to help more schools, but we also have to be realistic that the holidays are coming. So that's why we're planning more towards the beginning of next year. But thank you so much for your support.
Well, also, I'll be at Transform, AACN Transform in December. Stephanie will be there with me too. So stop by. I'll be at the booth just answering questions about this product too. So if you're there, stop by if you have more questions, and I'll be happy to talk to you and more in depth about it.
Wonderful. Perfect. Oh, still a nursing student. That's wonderful. So my vision is that once we're done with all of this can be shared with the student so that the student understands from day one on what's expected from them throughout all the courses through the program. And they can take ownership of their own journey. If they're not performing well on a competency, they know which one, and they know what resources to go to so that they can master that competency. So that's CBE, and we're really excited about that. But thank you so much for joining us today. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us and for joining me in this adventurous journey of curriculum mapping. It has been a delight working with you and our programs.
Yes, you too.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day. See you all. Bye-bye.